Alright, so I've got this Toyota Conquest in, okay, for a service, but you know, I have got the service, you know, recorded on my channel, but this customer was complaining about an oil leak. Look at this. I looked high and low, and then I eventually remembered in my old days, okay, you see where the oil's leaking, the oil's dripping down to the bottom over here, but look where it's originating, okay, it's actually got a little vent hole here, so you know when that diaphragm starts going, then the oil, because this part here is lubricated with oil, because there's a lever there that activates the pump all the time. And that oil is spilling, it's coming out of the vent hole because the seal's broken inside, and that is the result over there. Okay, so simply we just have to replace the seal, the pump, because it is a sealed unit, you know. I'll form replacing the pump. It's pretty simple and self-explanatory, but I'll form it for you. Yeah, so quite simply it's just a matter of you know, look at best is to take the air filter off so it's out of your way. Okay, and then we will just disconnect all the pipes going to the pump. Okay, let me explain this to you quickly so that you will understand. The thick pipe here is the inlet pipe because it's coming from the petrol filter. The thin pipe is the return, okay, and then this pipe is the feed into the carburetor. Okay, quite simple. So all that you do is loosen up the clamps, pull the pipes off like that. Okay, quite simple. Alright, so we have two nuts here, size 12 head nuts, okay, which we need to take out. Okay, so I'm just using a short extension, 1/2 inch drive. Okay, so I'm turning it out like that. Both of them, we'll get them out. And quite simply, once we have these off, you know, normally when this kind of thing happens with this car, it is a sign maybe that the pump is on its way out. You know what I mean? Pressure wise, maybe it's not delivering the right amount of pressure or whatever. But this car was driving fine. I didn't have any cutting out issues. Okay, so basically once you have that loose, you just basically pull the pump out. And you know, that is our setup over there. I'm messing all over the show here, but I will be cleaning it up. Okay, you can see that that's your lever. That lever runs against the camshaft there, okay, to activate the pump. But our actual problem is over there, as you can see. There's a little hole there. Okay, it's basically a vent hole or a leak-off hole. So the oil is basically coming out of there, and the faster you drive with this car, the more the oil will leak out. So as I was saying, okay, the pump has two sections. From this section downwards, okay, there is oil that goes into the, you get oil going in here, okay, to lubricate this lever, this linkage over here, because the linkage works up and down all the time. Alright, and then the top part is where the petrol pumps in and out. Okay, so they are separated, but when the pump goes, you'll find that little hole there, there's a hole there, okay, that hole hemorrhages oil, okay, and then you know it's time to replace the pump. So we got a new fuel pump. We got it from Euroman. Okay, it's not electronic, it's mechanical. So let's get it out of the packaging and see what we do get in the package. Right, just open it up there. Take the pump out of the packaging. Right, so they give us new gaskets. Okay, a new gasket, okay, for that. So let's just take a look. And that looks the same. Okay. That looks the same, so we'll just take off the blank ops there, and then what we'll do is what I normally do. I just use some of my Victor Ryan's sealer, and I'll put it around liberally, okay, not too much, waste not, want not, as they say. And then we will take a gasket. We'll put the gasket on, okay, and also look, there's a rubber block, not a rubber block, a fiber block on the spacer block. I didn't take the block off, so you know I don't need to worry with that. That's going to seal. So now we'll go and we'll put that new pump on. So we'll just feed the lever in. Okay, we line the two bolts up, the holes. We'll put our two nuts on over there, screw them on by hand, make sure that you don't cross thread anything. Okay, you know that's always important. You don't want to cross thread anything. It's a little tricky with the back one here because you have all these pipes in the way, but just do the best that you can to put them on. Once you have it on, then we'll use our spanner to tighten them up. We'll go tighten clockwise, obviously. I'd say 25 Newton meters should be 25 to 30 Newton meters should be enough pressure to hold those bolts on nice and tight. There we go. And then the pipes, okay, these two you can't muddle up because that is a thin and that's a thick pipe there. So the thin pipe goes onto the overflow, the thick pipe goes to the feed. Okay, that feed comes from the petrol filter, and then of course that feed goes into the carburetor. Right, now all we need to do, we just need to put our clamps back to make sure those pipes don't leak. Okay. The clamps back there. And then, as we know, this is a carburetor system. So this car will start immediately. It's not going to crank first to get fuel through. I'll just use a screwdriver because that's an air pipe. That's going to suck air. It's going to make the car run bad. So we'll just block that up over there. Or, alternatively, you can just pull it out of there and then you can use a screwdriver to block it off over there. Like that. Okay. So now, let's get this car started and make sure that the new pump is working fine. Okay, just a tip. Before you start the car, check the oil level. Okay, because this car has been leaking quite a bit of oil, so you want to make sure you've got enough oil in the engine. Alright, so now let's go and start the car. As you see, it started immediately. Okay, so we're going to monitor this area here. You want to make sure that there's no oil leaking there, that your seal is also doing well, okay, with a pump, when the pump touches the engine. You want to make sure there's no leaks there, it all looks fine. So we're going to let her run for at least 2 minutes or so, because as we know, the carburetor was full of petrol. That is at least good for 2-3 minutes worth of idling. Okay. So if the car should at all cut out within the next 5 minutes, we will know the pump is not working. Because you can't see the pump working, you can't hear the pump working because it's a mechanical pump. It's not an electrical pump that gives off a buzzing sound. Okay. So we're just going to let her idle for about 5 minutes and then we'll see. Okay, it's been about 10 minutes now and everything seems to be okay. Job well done. That's how you replace a petrol pump on a Toyota Conquest or Tazz with a 2E engine. Okay. Alright, fuel pump job done. Part number if you need it. FP061T. It is a Euroman brand. Okay, now I'm quite satisfied that there's no leaks. So I cleaned everything up nicely. As you can see there, there's no more oil. You know, and there's no more oil coming out through the pump. So, all nicely cleaned. Job well done.